On this episode of Gear Live's Bleeding Edge, we talk about the PlayStation 3, we put the MacBook Pro against a dual G5 PowerMac, and we introduce you to some leather Vaja iPod cases.
Not to mention taking a look at one of the most special effects laden independent films to hit the net.
Whoa. All that and more in today's edition of Gear Live's Bleeding Edge.
I love that delay. You're like, whoa.
Gear Live's Bleeding Edge is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, website builders, blogs, email, and more. Plus, enter code GEAR1, that's G-E-A-R and the number 1 during checkout and save an additional 10% on any order. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Gear Live's Bleeding Edge. I'm Andrew Edwards.
And I'm Sparky.
And again, we're going to bring you more tech news through the eyes of GearLive.com. So let's take a look at what we noticed that was interesting this week.
Indeed.
Okay.
Well, that title thing is going.
Got through that.
Get the last bits of laughter out of my eyes. There we go.
Okay, here we go. Early November 11th, they plan to do a worldwide launch of the PS3. That's about 2 weeks shy of the 1-year anniversary of the Xbox 360 launch.
That's interesting timing indeed. I'm impressed that they're taking Microsoft's tack and trying to do a worldwide launch all at the same time. Mm-hmm. It does help with their sales, but at the same time, I hope they don't have some of the same supply chain problems as a result.
Right. Which, I was going to say that'll be a year from the Xbox 360's release, so that gives the Xbox a large lead. But we're here, 5 months after the Xbox 360 launch, and you still can't go into a standard store and just pick one up.
Mm-hmm. Although I've heard that will be changing. Microsoft has internally been changing around some parts and changing like their RAM manufacturers and things like that. So hopefully, I believe within the next 2 weeks, Xbox 360s are going to start flowing like water.
Like water.
Like water.
Okay.
Liquid
nice.
Xbox 360s. Not to be confused with liquid-cooled Xbox 360s.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing that was interesting was that the PSP is going to get a $199 base unit, which is basically just the PSP, the battery. I think that's it.
Now,
like a little handle case for $199. So we don't have to buy the premium package anymore.
True. I'd also read that now this is a rumor, this hasn't been confirmed by Sony, but that they're going to be coming out with a second version of the PSP that's thinner, lighter, includes a camera, and 4 gigs of built-in flash memory.
I would love one of those.
So would I, but we'll see if Sony actually manages to pony up with it or not.
Like if it's as thin as the Motorola Sliver or something like that.
That would be great.
Other news on the PS3, it's going to be 100% backwards compatible out of the box, which Microsoft wasn't able to do with the Xbox.
True, and it's like particularly with thousands, if not tens of thousands of PlayStation games out there. Mm-hmm. It's great because they've got an instant game library that people can just sit down and say, "Hey, I've already got games for this."
Right. Or if you've never owned a PlayStation like me, I can buy a PS3 and buy a whole bunch of budget games. Mm-hmm. And not have to spend $60 per title at launch. The other interesting thing is that Microsoft, there's been some rumors that they'll wait for Halo 3 until the PS3 launch.
That would make a lot of sense for Microsoft. I mean, Halo's definitely their top-selling game title.
Yeah.
Might steal a little bit of thunder.
I don't see it making sense, though. Here's why. If Halo 3, whether Halo 3 came out tomorrow or the day of the PS3 launch, no one's going to be like, oh, Halo 3 is coming out tomorrow, we're not getting a PS3. No one's going to say that.
I could almost see some people doing that. If you're on a budget and you can't afford the extra $60 to get one, or let's say you're a parent and you're on a budget trying to get Christmas presents,
right,
and you've got a choice in between buying a $500 PS3 or a $60 Xbox 3 game, you're going to go with the Xbox the Xbox 360 game.
But that would be for any title, though.
Well, true.
It's like, for the people that are spending the money on a PS3, you're not going to stop them from buying a PS3 by releasing Halo.
You're not going to stop a hardcore gamer from buying a PS3, but you might take the casual gamer who's not sure if they wanted a PS3, might go, I'll just buy Halo 3 instead.
I don't get it. I mean, especially just get us Halo 3 as soon as you can. That's my thought.
True. Come on, Bungie.
Please.
Pony up.
Please.
What about people who haven't bought an Xbox 360 because there's no Halo 3 yet? Then they'll have to choose between a 360 and Halo 3, or a PS3 and whatever launch games they have.
Okay. That makes an interesting argument, because then people were waiting for the Xbox 360 until Halo 3. Now it's here. Now which console am I going to buy?
True. One thing to consider, though, is Halo 3 is probably going to be a much more mature Xbox 360 game. The developers have had a lot more hands-on experience with the 360, know its ins and outs. And
mature as in technology.
Technologically mature. Whereas all of the launch titles for the PlayStation 3 are, of course, going to be developers very new to the console. The cell proc is notoriously difficult to develop for,
right.
So it's going to be an interesting challenge to see how a mature 360 title is going to stack up against the launch titles that PlayStation 3 is going to bring out with it.
Awesome.
For those of you who might not be keeping up with it, 802.11n is the evolution of the 802.11b and G wireless networking technology.
So what makes it better?
Yeah, it extends the range and makes it significantly faster, up to 6 times faster than 802.11g technology.
What's the range?
Depending on if you got walls or not, anywhere from 400 feet to a quarter of a mile.
Wow.
Now, the way that they do this is they actually have multiple antennas on the base station and on the access card. Now, the problem that Ergo Networks just brought to light is because it uses all of these different frequencies and this adaptive frequency hopping algorithm, it unfortunately interferes with existing 802.11b and G networks. So, according to them, and a couple of sites like Tom's Hardware have concurred with them, if you set up your new 802.11n router once it's ratified and put it on your table here, suddenly you're killing wireless internet for all of your neighbors.
Possibly up to a quarter-mile radius.
Correct.
See, what I don't get is, I mean, first of all, that sucks, but 802.11n's been being worked on for so long that they've just noticed that this is what it does.
Yeah, well, my guess is that they've been working on it in a lab environment. They've got a lab full of 802.11n equipment, and they're really focused on 802.11n. Why would they have an older router sitting around? Mm-hmm. Well, apparently there's a good reason for them to have had an older router sitting around.
Yes, Windows XP seems to be installed and running on an Intel iMac Core Duo. The guy that started hacking it, he goes by Narf 2006, and he was able to get around the
EFI, the Extensible Framework Interface.
He used some sort of virtual EFI, and then he installed Windows XP on a partition on his Mac, booted it up, created a couple of user accounts, went to the device manager, and everything looked legitimate from where I sit. So he submitted basically his instructions for getting it to work to Colin Nettercorn, and this is the guy that's collected about over $10,000 for a contest. So whoever gets the XP to boot correctly, stably, and so that it works, gets this $10,000 prize, and it looks like he's going to get it.
Excellent. Now, looking at the story, it also looks, not only does his Intel Mac run XP very well, it runs it faster than most typical XP machines, most Pentium 4 based machines. So if you happen to have to use Windows in your work environment or for personal stuff, and you want a Mac, looks like this could be a great option. You can actually run Windows applications natively within OS X, and you can have Outlook show up, and you can use it with Expose and
without having to boot up Windows.
Correct. Correct. It basically provides an emulation layer of just the Win32 API, so you can run, without booting up Windows, you can run a Windows application. Wine, which is I'm not sure what it stands for, but Wine is the Linux version of this software, and it works quite well with running Windows XP apps on Linux.
Okay.
And Darwin is the Darwin version of this, and they're rapidly developing it. And I've seen some pretty impressive screenshots. And
is that the thing that allowed someone to like use the Microsoft Calculator or Notepad or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly same thing.
Good. Well, I mean, Notepad is a far cry from like Photoshop or something like that, but it'd be great to be able to open up like Outlook
or use
like
Windows-specific corporate applications in the OS X environment.
Exactly. So that was the wire. Let's move on to our next topic: head-to-head PowerMac versus MacBook. So I went down to What Counts, David Geller's company, and he is an early adopter of Apple products. So he has
as he should be.
Yeah, as he should be. He has he just bought a MacBook Pro, one of the 2 gigahertz versions, and he also has a PowerMac, and he got like a souped up one with 4.5 gigs of RAM, fast processor, dual. It's the dual G5 version.
Dual G5. Okay.
So we had him compile Java on both machines and put them side by side just to see which one would come out on top. The results may surprise you. Take a look at the video. We are here with the main man at What Counts, David Geller.
Hey there.
And David actually picked up one of the new MacBook Pros, and we thought it would be interesting to show the speed differences between one of the new MacBook Pros with the Intel Core Duo and his older G5 dual PowerMac. So go ahead, David, take it away.
Well, the first computer here, the dual 2 gigahertz PowerPC G5, has 4.5 gigabytes of RAM and two 143 gig SATA drives. It's a pretty fast machine. I thought it was super fast until I got this little laptop with just a 5400 RPM laptop drive. This is a 2 gigahertz Intel Core Duo, one of the brand new machines that have just come out from Apple, with only a gigabyte of RAM in it. So there you can see the two computers. Let me close the about screens here. What we're going to do for a little experiment here, and I'm going to just clean both of my compile spaces here. Nothing to time yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to start fresh by compiling on both machines about 920 Java source files. Then we're going to create a 30 megabyte WAR file out of this. In both cases, I'm using JetBrains' IDEA Java development environment. So right now we're going to prepare for a test. Set it up here, and I think we're going to just click both of them and say, go. We've got the CPU meters on both machines right now showing what's happening. So they've both started compiling all of their stuff, and as you'll see on the different screens here, there's not much to talk about while this is happening, but it's going through. We've got some Java being built right now. We're building some jar files from some of our packages, some individual servlets, and it looks like the Intel MacBook Pro has already started building the WAR file. So it's almost at the completion of its task, and it's finished in 32 seconds. The dual G5 is still working, and it's just now started to generate the 30 megabyte WAR file, and I think it's almost there. Kind of dramatic, but what's amazing is, okay, it finished at 50 seconds. So we've got 32 seconds on the portable machine and 50 seconds on a machine with 4 times the memory.
Wow, that was really impressive, and it makes me want a MacBook Pro.
Yeah, I want one too. I'm going to try to get one by E3, but yeah, I was totally blown away, especially because you have the dual G5 PowerMac was like supposed to be the fastest computer out there.
It was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, but of course this was just compiling Java. I don't know how, I don't know much about compiling. I don't know if that was not a intensive thing or whatever, but the MacBook still won.
Compiling is very processor intensive, but it's still impressive. So, Archos announced their AV700, which is an evolution of their portable media player platform.
Which I actually have played with in the past and love.
True. Unfortunately, this one we probably won't get to play with because it looks like it's only destined for Europe.
Okay.
The AV700 sports a 40 gig hard drive and a 7-inch color screen, and as we've seen before, Archos really knows what they're doing when they include those large, colorful screens. What makes this really what makes the AV700 really unique is that it has two terrestrial digital broadcast tuners built in. This is something that hasn't really hit in the United States, but over in Europe they have this DMB technology for digitally broadcasting video, kind of like we have UHF and VHF television. They do the same thing digitally with DMB, and since the AV700 has two tuners built in, you can actually watch one show while you're recording another show while you're on the go. So it's like a media
without
center.
even having to be plugged into anything.
Correct.
That is awesome.
The other thing that they were saying is with the two tuners, they can do very similar to the 802.11 technologies. They can use both tuners to tune to the same channel to get significantly
Stronger
better
signal.
reception.
So we got some cases from Vaja. If you aren't familiar with them, they manufacture high-quality leather cases.
The best.
For just about any portable gadget you can think of, whether it's a Trio or an iPod or a PSP.
Cell phone,
Cell
you
phones,
name it.
Yeah, they make, and they look really great. So they sent us a couple to talk about. Here is their 5G iPod video case. This is 100% leather, and it's like, it smells like, I mean, you open it up and it smells like leather in the room.
It feels, it's luxury.
It's high quality, and it feels stable. Now this is actually one of their Vaja Choice products. So with Vaja Choice, you can get a product, but then you can customize it with your own colors. So they sent us a Gear Live color scheme. So we have the orange and gray, and on back it has imprinting the Gear Live words. So let's just take a look at these cases. We have an iPod Nano and a 5G iPod here. You have the iPod Nano Vaja case, and it's, I mean, really simple. They just basically slide right in, and you're done. And what I like about this is you have your screen protected. You still have access to all the ports that you need for operation, including your click wheel. And that's pretty much it. It's simple. What do you think?
It's simple, it's luxurious, and it actually does a pretty good job of protecting the iPod. It's got a hard layer behind the really soft leather, so it feels nice and soft. Yet you know that it's not going to bend or break, or if you drop it.
There's a shell in there. And to remove the iPod, you actually have to press on the bottom to get it out, which you didn't figure out earlier.
Well, I figured that out, but unfortunately on the Nano, it's a pretty tight fit. You don't have to worry about this falling out anytime soon, because it takes some pretty good effort to actually get out of the case.
Right, and let's take a look at, this is the clip, which they call the E-clip, I guess. E-clip technology. And let's have Nate come on over and show us how this works.
Yeah, Nate is our stunt pantsman.
Right, so on the back of the Vaja cases, there's a little nub, metal nub, and they work with these E-clip clips to hold your iPod while you're on the go. So there you go, Nate. Show us how it's done. Okay.
So, to just put it on, it's really simple. You just...
Okay, so if you were to walk around like that, the iPod shouldn't fall off. No one should be able to run by and like snap it right off here.
It'll stay on there pretty good.
Okay.
It's actually kind of difficult.
Is it comfortable, or?
It's
if you were walking around?
comfortable.
Okay.
I mean, it's hanging on my belt. If the iPod were heavier, it might not be so comfortable, but right here, it's excellent.
It's stable, okay.
Yeah.
And then taking it off, earlier you were saying there was a...
I was having issues taking it off with one hand, but it's just, you need to be able to push the button from behind the iPod, and doing it with one hand tends to...
Yeah, I'm glad there's a case on there.
Doing it with one hand tends to either make the iPod fall on the ground, or you just can't release it. Well, I just did it just then. But it's way easier with two hands, just using one finger from the other hand to push on it and allows the iPod to come right free. I mean, I have small fingers. Anyone with huge sausage fingers like you, Andrew, would have a bit more of issues messing with the clip. So...
maybe I shouldn't mess with the clip then.
Yeah,
don't mess with the clip, Andrew. Just don't mess with the clip.
Okay. But still, I love the Vaja cases. These run a couple $100 if you want to get it like all tricked out with your like custom engraving and picking out your different colors and things like that. But you know, I think for a product like the iPod, you want something not only that will protect it, but
protect it stylishly.
Stylishly, and to the point where you can still use it. Like you can still watch a video and on the video iPod or look at pictures on either one. So, good job, Vaja. We like them. You can check them out at vajachoice.com, VAJA choice.com.
Up next, we have a little treat from Hidden Frame Productions, who happens to produce Bleeding Edge and all of the Gear Live Media Network.
Yes, you know them as Nate and Jesse. You've seen them on the show before. We're going to take a look at what I'd say is their biggest project. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, their biggest project to date, called Make My Day. And I'll actually let them talk more about it. So let's bring them in.
Check it out. All right. So I've got Jesse and Nate here from Hidden Frames Productions, and we're here to talk about Make My Day, their big new project. So tell me what have we got here?
Well, Make My Day is what we want to say, the first of its kind, a choose-your-own-adventure humor DVD. The concept has been done before for, say, children's DVDs, detective mysteries, and pornography. But
it's true. Obviously, you guys have managed to transcend all of those genres, though, and make something completely new and creative.
We've tried our best.
This is better than everything.
Ever.
Here's how it works. Basically, you wake up one morning, you get to play the main character and make his decisions throughout his day, which ends up with him dying a lot of the time. Go ahead. You started going... So, like you wanted to talk, but then you didn't.
Thank God for editing.
I'm not editing that out. That was you being my bitch. I'll edit that word out, but no, that's it.
It'll just be bleeped, that'll be out.
Yeah. Anyway, so you wake up one morning, and then you're sitting on the couch eating your cereal, and it goes... Because, and that's the sound that makes the menu happen, somebody's knocking on the door, and the phone's ringing. You have to choose which one you do. And so that's the first choice in like a whole day. It's like a fractal tree of choices that you have. And there's, as you'll see in the preview, which we'll probably play right after I finish talking, there's like, you can be in a lightsaber battle, or you can have a dance-off, or you can die or have a regular day, or meet a leprechaun.
We were already in a lightsaber battle.
What?
We were already in a lightsaber battle.
Oh yeah.
This
like
lightsaber battle is cooler though, because you have the option of winning or losing.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because I'm awkward.
The DVD is packed full of material.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time playing with this earlier, and it is really fun and fantastic. I encourage people to check it out. If people want to get their own copy, where can they go?
They can go to our Make My Day website at makemydaydvd.com, and we've put up a bunch of video clips and production photos and things like that to, have a look at it and explore Make My Day before you purchase.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one more thing I wanted to say. In the last show, we talked about, what was it, Cherub?
Cherub, yes.
Cherub. That was like a internet show that would only probably work on the internet with people with varied tastes, coming to indulge in really odd humor. This is a only internet released movie, so it's kind of like an experiment, leading edge of, can people succeed in making a movie and releasing it to the masses without the involvement of some big company? So you're going again.
No.
Oh, okay.
I think he just does that all the time.
If you don't want to deal with the MPAA,
right.
Can it be done?
Yep.
Check out MakeMyDayDVD.com and let's take a look at the preview.
chances of getting killed are like 1 in a trillion.
We're back. That was really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Again, check out MakeMyDayDVD.com if you want your own copy. Or if you want a free copy, go check out the GearLive.com forums and put a post in the entry about Make My Day and tell us what your favorite part of that preview is, and we'll randomly select a contestant to mail a free copy of the DVD to.
I was hoping to have something more complicated than that, like
Solve a puzzle.
an online treasure hunt or, something crazy like
Will
that.
you orchestrate that?
No.
All right, it's going to be random.
Sounds
You
good.
heard it here, random giveaway.
Awesome. Sweet.
That was pretty cool. I encourage everyone to check it out.
Yes. Forget all that. Let's just.
Did
go-
I
that was-
can't say that any
horrible.
more times.
Okay. Yeah, you always do that. Like, that was cool. And okay. Someone made a comment about that on the last episode. They're like, why does Sparky always say that's really cool about everything?
Because everything is really cool.
Everything's
Otherwise,
cool,
we
and we
wouldn't
talk
talk about it.
Okay. Oh, let me take this up. Okay. Sweet. All right. Finally, before we close, we have some giveaways to talk about. A
Everybody
couple
likes a
episodes
giveaway.
ago, everybody loves a giveaway. A couple episodes ago, we told you we were giving away Xbox 360s if we earned them through Text Pay Me. Not sure how many we'll have by the time we give them away, but we do know we have one so far to give away, which we'll do next week. Text Pay Me guys will be here on the show as guests next week,
Excellent.
and they will bring our Xbox or your Xbox if you're the winner next week. But today we do have the results of our OHSO giveaway. If you remember back a couple episodes ago, we talked about the cool travel toothbrush OHSO.
Great
And we
concept.
invited you to leave your thoughts about the bleeding edge on our forums. And we would pick randomly 3 people to walk away with a free OHSO. So, we have the forum winners.
And without further ado,
the first one, his username is IamZac. IAMMZAC.
excellent. Well, I guess he is Zach.
Yeah, apparently.
One would hope.
Although there's 2 M's, so I don't. Maybe I am MZac. I don't know. Next one, username Yashar. YASHAR. Maybe he's Yashar.
Indeed.
Obviously he is because he registered that. And finally, drum roll.
Grand prize winner is.
Beam Me Up 4, which really wins the same prize as the other 2 guys. So it's not really a
But-
grand prize, but still, he was announced last.
That makes him the
Therefore, he's
best.
the grand prize winner. Beam Me Up 4, you also win an OHSO. So we'll be contacting the 3 of you to get your addresses and send out your prizes. And don't forget, next week we give away at least one Xbox 360. Thanks again for tuning in for this week's edition of Gear Live's Bleeding Edge. Before we go, I just want to remind you to take our viewer survey. It's in the show notes. It'll help us out as far as seeing who's out there, who's watching the show, and get demographic information to support our effort.
Indeed.
You should have said podcast out.
Oh.
So go ahead and say it. Don't forget to vote.
Don't forget to vote for us in Podcast Alley.
And finally, all the links for everything that we talked about today are in the show notes, including to the giveaways. So if you want to win something, check out the show notes. Until next week, I'm Andrew Edwards.
And I'm Sparky.
And we'll see you next week where we bring you more tech news through the eyes of GearLive.com. Yes!
All right. That was the giggliest show we've ever done. Now turn off the camera before we giggle
That was
anymore.
the crotchiest show we've ever done, too.
Rich with the aromas of crotch.
Oh, man.
I do not smack my lips, do I?
You totally were. I thought, well, you just kept thinking that you were trying to talk, so I was like,
No, if I'm going to talk, I'm going to interject and damn well talk right the hell over you. People will know when I'm talking.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh, for gemstones.
Ready?
No.
Come on, Sparky, get it together.
I'm just gonna throw up.
I wasn't kidding when I said, I want my claim to fame be throw up on the Gear Live Media Network.
All over this. I'm moving on.
Moving on.
I will key crisp. Sorry.
Going at the end.
Excellent.
Darn it. So don't put any of that in there, because that was dumb.
Put all of that, focusing on
Okay,
here.
here we go. Gear Live's Bleeding Edge is brought to you by GoDaddy.com. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, website builders, blogs, email, and more. Plus, enter code GEAR1, that's GEAR and the number 1 during checkout and save an additional 10% on any order. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com.